I need something. I can't be the one thing I can say. Hi, my name is Arcturus. You can call me Archie. This is Punct. Hello. Welcome back.
Hi,
It's the same evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I could say is that I believe we made a commentary as bad as the movie.
Oh, that's such a self-burn. Holy shit.
I don't think anyone's going to make it through that one. I think it was just, like, we couldn't pay attention. We kept trying to figure out the movie when we could have just been actually listening and understanding it. Like, with all of the other ones, we know them, but like the back of our hand at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I could recite half of Rogue Nation at least. In certain parts of Fallout, certainly. But that one just, like, I literally just kept thinking about Metal Gear Solid in the middle of it.
Well, considering we agreed that that was just an exercise in masochism, maybe the only people who will listen to it are sadists. Yeah.
Also, when that guy showed up and you point out it was a jean jacket, but before that, I thought his jacket reminded me of Daniil Dankovsky, and I was like, I'm gonna watch Pathologic instead of this. Like, I'd rather go through that. I'd rather cry about Daniil, because I love him. We're not talking about, I promise not to talk about Pathologic at any point during Fallout.
I think that's too much on brand for you right now.
At some point you need, okay, we're not going to, but at some point you need to watch The Marble Nest so you understand why Daniil is amazing, and I love him.
I started watching it, and then I didn't, it was very slow start. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, it's a weird one. Let's watch a good movie. This is going to be Fallout. This is the second part of this double feature where we watched, and I think we can confirm now, the technically worst movie of the Mission Impossible series, because, wow.
Yeah.
And now we're going to watch the one that is just a technical triumph. And by that, I mean, like, I keep saying that, and I'm not really, like, qualifying it. I mean, like, the actual filmmaking is so fucking good. Like, every shot, everything that they do, everything from just, like, the color to the cinematography to everything. Which is funny, because one of the things I know about this is, like, so this is the first time a director comes back to do another movie. McQuarrie does Rogue Nation, and then he comes back for this, right? Mm-hmm. So McQuarrie specifically picked out a whole new, like, cinematography team, and he wanted the movie to look like it was done by another director. And apparently the way this director of cinematography works is so different from his usual style that McQuarrie was kind of nervous, but made himself trust the guy. And thank God, because this movie's gorgeous.
Yeah, and I don't remember whether I heard this on from you or from the what's it boys, yeah, but he kept the same team going on to direct Dead Reckoning, right?
Interesting. Really?
I thought so. I thought he was just like, okay, this is fine, this is my series now.
Yeah, we're not going to try to be a different director because, you know, we're ending the series with Dead Reckoning 1 and 2. Everybody knows it.
I hope so.
Yeah. Because I don't want Ethan Hunt to ever be the secretary of the IMF. Just destroy the IMF. Please, McQuarrie. Please, McHugh. Please and thank you. We love you. Anyway. Also, I would design a keyboard for him if he ever asked. Yeah, let's watch Fallout. My copy is 2 hours and 27 minutes and 54 seconds. Woof. It's going to be late. Mm-hmm. Okay, starting now. I love this movie.
It's so pretty.
It's gorgeous. This one I wish I had seen in theaters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to be, like, sobbing through the entire of Dead Reckoning. Not even just from emotions, just from, like, the pure, like, overstimulation of being like, oh my god, so much is happening and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, we shouldn't have gone to the IMAX ones because I think we'll die. That's why we have to finish all the commentaries before that, because we're going to be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
Wait, so did you know that this actually is either it is at or it's really nearby Lake Wanaka?
Are you kidding?
No, I'm actually for fucking serious.
Oh my god.
Like, so the way Macquarie talked about it in episode 200 of like The Fuse was they were scoping out locations in New Zealand, and they had found a couple of good spots, and then they kept looking around, and then they found this spot, and they were like, oh yeah, this is great. But they had planned something different for this scene. Originally, it was supposed to be way more dreamy and sort of like washed out in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, well, it doesn't really matter how pretty it is, but I think this is good. And then just as they were leaving, they were like, oh yeah, look, we just passed Lake Wanaka. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so good. This really is... I'm so glad that this movie is so much about Julia.
Mm-hmm.
And also, thank God they did not go with the original plan to have Alec Baldwin reading that shit, because having it be Lane is fucking tremendous.
Yeah, it's so fucking good. I am the storm.
Okay, is that a cool line or is it stupid?
I like it that it's a little bit stupid. It feels like the same kind of corny that Luther makes fun of him for at the end of Ghost Protocol.
So that's just a disease in the IMF. I fucking hate the Odyssey so fucking much. Hollowing it out to send somebody a mission is the best thing anybody has ever done to the Odyssey. Fuck the Odyssey and fuck Odysseus.
It is interesting. So, is there any piece of media that is integral to a Mission Impossible movie, like the Bible is integral to MI1?
Sorry, I'm searching my mental databases.
Yes, please do.
I don't think so. No, I mean, besides, like, do you consider Turandot, the opera, to be integral to it?
Oh. No, I don't think so. I think it's integral to that one piece. I don't think it's integral to the whole movie.
Okay. Because I don't know if Rogue Nation is as good as it is without that opera scene. But it could have been technically another opera and it wouldn't have, like, changed that much. As long as it fucking rocked as much as that one did.
Yeah, and, like, you literally could not cut out the Bible from MI1 and retain the same plot.
I mean, I could have. But that's me.
You could not, like, literally by cutting, like, scenes from the movie.
Oh,
like, not by just
true.
recutting the movie.
Okay. I thought you were giving me a dispensation to rewrite shit.
No, you're already rewriting so much.
I am rewriting so much. You know what's interesting about the Apostles is it gives me the same vibes as Hendrix in GP, that they're important to the plot, but the only thing that is actually important is John Lark.
Mm-hmm.
It's
so
like we're so focused on characters. Go ahead. Sorry.
One of the other things that Macquarie said when the Fuse Boys were trying to get out spoilers for Dead Reckoning, because this was happening while they had just been about to start filming Dead Reckoning when COVID hit.
Yes.
And so they were sort of in shutdown. So the Dead Reckoning was the Fuse Boys were like, so are the Apostles going to come back in Dead Reckoning? And Macquarie was like, all of these things, like the Apostles, like, I don't remember if he specifically mentioned it, but like Brant, things like that, they're all just like sticky notes on a whiteboard. Like, they're all potential things that we're thinking of all the time. Mm-hmm. But because he didn't quite say it like this, but basically because he's making it up as he goes along, he doesn't really know until they get there which of the sticky notes are going to actually go into any one scene.
I like how we just agreed, like, we're gonna listen to this wonderful sequence because it's Simon Pegg.
It's so good.
They have such fucking chemistry. They both look very good in this bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry for the prolonged silence, but like, come on. Like,
no, it's
nothing
true.
we said would be better.
There's gonna be more silence in this commentary for the opposite reason that there was less commentary in the last one, which is like sometimes you just can't have anything to say when it's stupid, but at the same time, sometimes you can't have anything to say because you're the stupid thing and you don't want to interrupt the good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love this freaky guy. This guy's so great.
Yeah, it's interesting that he, like, there's absolutely no introduction to him. We have, like, do we even know his name?
Nope. He's just the dealer, but he brings so much presence. He's really good.
Yeah, he does still have, like, something interesting about him, even though he's literally just in this one scene.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good.
Also, like, not to bring up, like, Ethan and gender again, but, like, we're into the McQuarrie movies, so, like, Ethan's, like, masculinity is not such a hard point to lean on anymore like it is in the earlier films, but this moment just brings, like, a specific energy, like, he's putting it on, like, because he needs it in this moment, and I really like it. I really like it as this, I don't think of it, like, as a mask at this point, but, like, it is a trait that he could throw on and off depending on what the job needs, and I really like it. I like Ethan Hunt.
Yeah. Oh, look at his sad eyes.
Science.
Is his hand shaking, or is he just gesturing very, very small gestures?
That one was gesturing.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. He's still very anxious. Most awkward moment of their lives.
Yeah, this was very, very awkward.
Like, okay. I like the little side eyes at each other, like, fuck.
If a fic ever manages to, like, make any sexual tension as awkward as this moment, I would, like, instantly bookmark it. Or maybe never read it.
This movie is just very, very tense. I always think of the last 20 to 30 minutes, but, like, oh, how many moments in this film do you just kind of hold your breath for a couple seconds?
So many. You have to keep reminding yourself to breathe throughout this entire movie. It's like, no automatic breaths anymore. You gotta do it every time.
Yeah. Yeah, we have real phones now, not fucking Windows phones.
That's some fucking good driving.
Yeah.
A fucking cell phone.
Mm-hmm. How heavy is plutonium? Was that, like, a really good throw?
It did seem pretty heavy when it landed.
Oh.
Okay,
yeah.
I have to mention stuff from the commentary that McHugh and TC did.
Oh, yeah, you listened to Fallout and I listened to Rogue Nation. Yeah.
Oh, really? You didn't end up listening to Fallout?
I haven't done it yet, no.
Oh, I listened to the first half of Fallout, so unfortunately I'm not prepared for the second half. But, so the thing that they talked about is they were like, this entire movie from, like, the first, like, anxiety dream onwards is basically just, like, Ethan descending into his worst nightmare. Like, everything about this is just things getting worse and worse and worse for Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start seeing that is what this movie is, it's, like, wild to think about it as just, like, holy shit, this is just Ethan's life spiraling for 2.5 hours.
That's why, like, one of my things that, like, I love is I love this arc of him getting to this point, because I'll probably talk way too much over the scene with the French cop, but, like, just the way that, like, it feels like he's losing something that he needs to be, like, a good agent, and, like, it's making everything even worse as everything's spiraling out of the control. Like, the damage control that an agent like him needs is getting broken because he's starting to care too quickly and too much about people and is not able to compartmentalize. Like, honestly, not to put too much of a fine point on it, but maybe he's getting too old to, like, keep shoving things into little boxes in the back of his head, and he can't deal with it anymore. He can't risk losing Luther in this moment because how many times has he done that already?
It's like trauma doesn't actually get smoothed over with time necessarily, especially if you're constantly getting re-traumatized. Instead, it just, like, gets magnified every single time.
Yeah. It's interesting how, like, obviously, like, he is the best IMF agent because he's been in the field so long. His skill set is so large. But it's like almost like min-maxing a character. Like, like, as you are adding more and more points to everything that he can do, you're also having to take away, like, stability and, like, the ability to handle horrible things. And that is the thing that keeps fucking getting him in the fucking knees. And this is that entire movie, basically.
McHugh and TC also said that when they played this scene for test audiences, they tried, like, basically drawing out the sort of, like, tension and disagreement between Luther and Ethan. But as soon as they did it more than just, like, the bit that we see here, audiences were like, nah, no way. These guys like each other too much. There's no fucking way they're getting this teed off over some dude. Even if there is a bomb, this is not happening. Which I love.
Yeah. The weight of history. It must be nice. Like, they've put in the work at this point, especially TC. Like, you've put in the work to have a character and have, like, these characters for this long. So you get to do something like this. It must be kind of thrilling. It's like, to make, like, my dumb comparison, like, when I get to the end of an extremely long writing project and extremely long fic, and I get to suddenly pull out all the stops to fuck up people and having, like, earned it, this is the movie of having earned it, basically.
Which makes me fucking worry about what the fuck we're gonna see in Dead Reckoning.
I know, I'm so excited. I'm ready to die. I like the implication that Wolf Blitzer is just a fucking government plant. Such a good scene.
Oh, also, apparently Macquarie named this guy Nils Dolbrook after, I think, one of the characters in Young Frankenstein is named Dolbrook. His last name is Dolbrook. Like, that's the guy who originally is supposed to be the brain of Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster. I don't know how it works in Young Frankenstein. And then Nils is the name of his godson. He was originally just going to use the name from Young Frankenstein, but he didn't want any nerd in the audience in the theater to just, like, laugh out loud. He's like, that is definitely not what I want, so I have to make it slightly more subtle.
It's the subtler version of the Invisible Man joke from Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
I remember the Eye of the Duck guys were talking about this scene and how this is an entire set as a mask. And, like, you get a mask reveal for an entire location, and it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's such a good bit, because I'm like...
Yeah, and apparently
obviously.
they had wanted to do a mousetrap bit in Rogue Nation too, but they couldn't quite figure out how to fit it in a way that made sense. And
yeah, it's probably when they were trying to figure out the ending of that fucking movie. We could talk later about how that fucking ending came out. God bless him. Yeah. God bless Simon Pegg specifically.
Yeah.
Wolf Blitzer, he wanted to keep the mask, so they let him keep the mask.
That's true.
I hate that moment. Take off the fucking
I think it's cool.
I love them passing money between.
Yes, I love that too. I love that the implication is that Benji bet on Ethan and Luther bet against Ethan.
And Benji was right.
Yeah.
I could kiss this movie. This movie is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So glad that they got Henry Cavill. He's such a fuck.
Yeah. Sorry to everybody who likes August Walker, aka everybody writing August Walker / reader fic.
Listen, whatever thrills them, just as long as I can filter it out.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You're allowed to like whatever you like. I'm just saying we like to hate him.
Also, he has a mustache. You're supposed to hate him. I love that.
This is another thing that they said in the commentary. They were like, yeah, when Walker first got there, which apparently their first scene that they shot with Henry Cavill was I think it was the scene where they're both waiting in the van before the transport shows up. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so they said right when Henry Cavill was first getting there and they were sort of trying to figure out Henry Cavill's character, they sort of, through working with Henry, figured out, like, oh, he's Clark Gable. Like, he's this sort of, like, man out of time, like, suave guy.
Of course.
I know, because they're
nerds.
Old cinema dudes. Yeah. Anyway, I love that.
Okay, I do actually have one complaint about this movie, and it's Alec Baldwin suddenly being so hype and so pro IMF after the bullshit that he put Ethan through in the last one.
Okay, the thing is, though, he was pretty insanely pro Ethan in the last one.
Like, him having a weird boner for Ethan is not what I mean.
But I think you can see how one feeds into the next.
Well, yeah, but like, the whole thing is, like, in Rogue Nation, they had him. They owned his ass after the shit that they did to him in Rogue Nation. It was great.
So you think it should be more that they still have a leverage over him rather than the fact that he's bought in?
No, I mean, this makes sense from, like, a screenwriting standpoint, because keeping that kind of piece of continuity would actually be very difficult, because it's kind of a subtle thing anyway. But if I was writing it, yes.
Yeah, apparently they also have a rule that basically every movie, it has to be standalone. It has to be able to, you can just go to the theater and watch that movie.
Yeah, I know. It is interesting
That's
that they have
so
that and
unnecessary
they still manage
that they
continuity.
call on the phone even though they're like 20 feet away. That's so dumb. So dumb.
Everybody fucking hates the CIA. I do like that. I feel like McHugh also hates the CIA.
I do love that little bit, though, because it's so ubiquitous that every sort of movie of this caliber, or basically any action movie, assumes that torture basically works. Mm-hmm. And so I love that McHugh just added that little bit of like, oh, but the thing is, torture doesn't actually, you can't actually trust a confession out of torture. Like, scientifically, that's not how it works. Yep. And I just love that he fit that in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That line is so weird to me.
See, this line is the one that's really weird to me. I told
do you want to argue about whether Ethan is a scalpel?
No. I just think it was funny that the first time I watched this movie, I couldn't tell that this was Henry Cavill, and I wasn't paying attention to the credits, and so I thought this was Armie Hammer, and so I thought that entire line was a meta joke about the fact that it was Armie Hammer.
Yeah, no, it's the other guy from Man from U.N.C.L.E., the one who still has a career.
Okay, is Ethan a scalpel?
Scalpel just feels like it requires so much foreplay, because I associate that with surgery. And what Ethan does is not surgical. It's still rolling the dice every time.
Yeah, I feel like Ethan is more of like a sword rather than a scalpel.
That remains sheathed until it's ready to be drawn?
Yeah, and like you can do a lot of damage, but it's still a matter of like you have to know how to wield it.
And it does a lot of work just staying in the sheath. Because Ethan does not default to fighting.
No.
Thank you, McHugh, for understanding that.
Oh my god, you know what I just realized? He literally could assume the identity of John Lark after he scanned Walker's face, because Walker is John Lark.
Huh. I wonder if that was
shit.
like just a nice little thing for McHugh to shove in his pocket in case he needed it.
I can't believe I didn't realize that until just now.
That's because, like, you and I have been working on an outline for literally weeks now, and it is ballooned to over 22,000 words. And McHugh works in the opposite way.
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember who it was who described it as, like, Gromit laying down the tracks as the train is going over them. Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't know how not to choose to accept it, because we got trauma,
Yeah, it's interesting that two villains in a row, or is it both in this movie? I don't remember whether Lane talks about it in this movie.
Lane lampshades it, because he makes Ethan say the words over the phone when he takes Benji.
But, but when is the line where he says, like, did you ever think not to accept it? That's this one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's
interesting that they're both throwing that line in his face.
I wonder if that's supposed to be like an early hint that he's a baddie, besides the mustache. TC, you're out of your fucking mind.
Okay, tell him. Tell him, Mark.
Was it 304 Halo jumps to get, like, 3 usable takes?
Okay, first explain what a halo jump is for people who don't know, because I didn't know when I first watched it.
High altitude, low opening. When he walks out here, you can see the curvature of the Earth. It is very, very, very high in the air. And the whole thing is you're jumping out from a very, very high altitude, but you're not opening your parachute until you're very, very low. One of the most dangerous parts of it is having to hit your mark, because you have so long to fall. It's just a long time for things to go fucking wrong. I know about Halo jumps from Metal Gear Solid 3 because it's the opening of the game. So I've always known, holy shit, you shouldn't be doing this, my man. Oh, also, what he's doing is cool. The cameraman is the real star of this fucking sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fucking cameraman has a camera strapped to the top of his head. He does not have a monitor. He just needs to know where to be pointing, and then TC has to hit the marks. And there's basically no margin for error. God. So this is not really our silent moment, but it did give us like a flash of silent. We have to find the silent moment in this film. It's fucking...
I will also say, apparently, when they originally were planning on doing this scene, they thought they were going to do probably at least part of it, or they wanted to have as backup that they could do part of it in a wind tunnel. And so they built the world's largest wind tunnel.
And something that it didn't work, right?
It didn't work because
bad.
It looked like they were on wires. And so TC was like, all right, man, you know what we gotta do. Like, all right, let's fucking suit up. Like, let's do the Halo jumps, like 300 of them. And Macquarie, because he's a lovely enabler, is like, yeah, okay.
The cameraman is guessing. Oh, God. Yeah. Jesus Christ. when he dives for Walker and misses and then has to, like, spin himself around, that's so stressful to me. Mm-hmm. Oh. Remember to breathe.
Yeah, the fact that he is literally doing this jump while performing these actions and fucking acting, and then he still does it. That's insane.
Yeah. Oh, God. And they weren't doing it over Paris, they were doing it over a desert, but still.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Oh, baby.
So that's the moment when we know Walker's a villain, right? When he unplugs Ethan's error right before he jumps out of the plane.
He's such a fucking prick. But he could just be a machismo fucking CIA dude.
In my opinion, there's no way he could be anything but a villain after he does that. That, and this moment right here, there is no way you could see him as anything but, oh my god, I want that asshole to get his comeuppance from that moment onward.
Mostly, I just look at Ethan's poor face. I'm like, he's so tired in this movie.
Yeah.
He's so fucking tired.
Apparently, they did actually get to film this in the Palais, and they didn't know they were going to get to do it until last minute. So they had to plan all of the design of the inside so that they could basically, like, wheel it in and out every day.
That's ridiculous.
So basically everything in this set is just stuff that they can wheel in and out, even in, like, big boxes. Like, except for, I think, parts of the lights or parts of the mirrors. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, they talk about it in the commentary. It's very interesting.
The cinematographer and the lighting director deserve fucking Oscars for making this look as good as it does then. Because, Jesus Christ, this place looks so fucking cool. It creates such a distinct, like...
And I love how... So, I don't remember whether we actually talked about it that much in our commentary on MI3, but the thing is, part of the thing that annoys me, at least, about MI3 is that the lighting is so bad.
Yeah.
And, like, they will have strobing lighting when there's really no reason to do that, or they'll have it in such a way where, yes, there's strobing lighting, but it means you literally can't see fucking anything.
Yeah, here I could feel I could feel the disassociation of, like, wandering through this place and trying to, like, keep yourself together.
Plus, even now, you could still see them so clearly, even though it was strobing. Like, it was still shot well, even though it was, like, shot with an effect.
Yeah. This movie's gorgeous. Have we mentioned that yet? I think we might have.
Yeah, they also said that shooting in this bathroom was so fucking hard because it was so difficult to get them to look well, like, make the actors look good with just, like, bright white lighting on everything.
Yeah, it's not quite blue light, but it's very close to a blue-white light. Mm-hmm. This fucking guy.
They also said something interesting, which I had never picked up on. They said part of the point of this actor, this is actually
the stunt coordinator, or
something like that, a stuntman or a stunt coordinator who they'd worked with in the past for one of their films.
Because they were going to get Leslie Odom Jr. to play the character, but he couldn't learn the stunt fast enough, so they just had the guy do it because he's amazing. He's absolutely incredible.
And part of what they were interested in demonstrating with this scene was they wanted to show... Yeah.
Yes. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, that's our favorite Ethan shot in, like, the series.
He's so good.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so apparently they... what was I fucking saying?
About the stunt, what the purpose of it was.
Oh, yeah, the purpose was partially to show that there is someone who could physically beat Walker. That it was, like, part of what was being demonstrated was that, like, even though Walker can clearly beat the shit out of Ethan, he isn't, like, perfect. Also, apparently these were all extras, and they didn't know what they were saying on the day of. They actually didn't even know what they were saying until the translation came out in time for the captions of the movie.
Oh my god, really? Because this is one of my favorite moments.
I know, it's so good.
It's like, hello, we are not in America, we're in France. His face is like, oh, Jesus Christ.
I love it because he's like, I've been in this situation where I've actually been in a threesome. It wasn't fun then either.
I love them singing as they leave. I really hope they have a good evening. Unlike Ethan, who is not going to have a good evening.
No, Ethan never has a good evening, especially not in this nightmare world of Fallout.
Oh my god. Oh, I love that moment. Oh god.
I love his waistcoat, by the way.
Oh yeah, it is beautiful. This guy is just magnetic for the fact that he gets no lines, but it's just the physicality of this person. He's great. Oh, fucking. I think one of the things that's compelling is that, like, we see Ethan fight, and he's very pragmatic. He tries to end fights as quickly as possible.
We got him notice the moment.
Yeah!
Oh, he reloads his arms.
This guy, like, reminds me of Ethan's fighting style, except he's faster and younger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Leave him alone. Oh, look at him, God.
Leave this old man alone.
We just
That's
want
your grandpa.
Look at his hand up like, okay. Now what?
He's like, fuck, I've got to throw myself at this guy again. God damn it.
I love the entire McQuarrie trilogy in the first one. I don't think TC's ever been better than he has in this movie. He's the king of micro expressions in this movie. Hi, Ilsa.
Hi, Ilsa.
Oh, she's so fucking good. The fact that she just says shit. Like, her entire day has just been ruined by Ethan existing in it.
I love this line, too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I need a face to make a mask.
She's a
I don't get that line. I'm very confused by that line, though, right? Because Ilsa's a good shot, right?
It's just a funny line.
Okay.
I love this movie. I love his hair.
Apparently that was a reshoot. Apparently they got a whole bunch of takes of that, and then when they were cutting the movie, they were like, TC saw one of the cuts, and he was like, no, I can do better. Let's go back and let me do that line again. And he gave that line exactly like that, where like it was basically like a fuck you to Walker. Like, now we have to hope they never met, fucker. And so that was a reshoot. I thought that was interesting.
That's way too much, but also... Oh, this moment... He's coming apart. Also, take a shot every time Walker tries to be friendly to somebody, and they're like, nah, you suck. We hate the CIA, actually. But, like, that moment where he, like, slams the door open, it's like, you're seeing the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ethan in this movie. I love him so much. He's just barely keeping ahead. I love when Ethan curses, too.
actually, okay, this is sort of a reach, but I love that this is completely, probably unintentionally, this is a role reversal from Ethan and Julia in MI3.
That's so explained.
In MI3, Ethan is like, Julia, I'm sorry, you just have to trust me, I can't tell you. And now Ilsa is like, sorry, Ethan, I can't tell you, you just have to go along with it.
This and Rogue Nation is a lot of, like... So, like, we've talked before about, like, how Ethan's superpower is, like, having the charisma to make somebody trust him very quickly so that his plans, like... that he's laying the tracks out right in front of himself, because very much like McHugh, like, his plans actually, like, come through. Because there's that line in Rogue Nation where Alec Baldwin is like, he's like a mastermind. I'm like, no, the fuck he isn't. He doesn't know what he's he knows what he's going to do in the next hour, and then if that fails, he's going to have to come up with another plan on the fly. He's the best improv artist in the world, basically.
Which is another reason why it makes sense that his background would be, as is stated in the extra features of MI1, that he was an actor rather than that he was military-based.
Yes, because I think it's so much easier to teach somebody who has that background already, who has that talent for, like, improv and acting, and just teach them to shoot a gun real good, rather than the other way around.
I also do just want to say this, in case it didn't occur to anybody else, because I completely missed this, like, maybe the first 2 times I watched this movie. That whole speech about Max that the White Widow gives, that's Max from MI1. The Max that we're going to talk about how much he and her definitely get it on in the back of a car.
Yes.
So there's definitely some interesting things happening here with, like, he's like, I dated your mom, sort of, we had a one-night stand, and she's like, well, I want to fuck you. It's just, like, it's a very interesting dynamic.
Wait, I just noticed this, and I've seen this movie, like, 7 times. She's literally wearing a spider brooch.
Yeah.
I'm usually looking at her beautiful face. There's so much going on with her.
Oh, that's interesting. That cut was actually out of order, because you could see the spots on her dress before he'd upset the drink.
Oh, that I didn't notice.
Yeah.
We've officially seen this movie too many times.
Yeah, I think that counts as a cinema sins. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have pointed it out.
Listen, there's only like 1 or 2 problems in this movie.
Yes, and we're not pointing them out because they're actually bad. It's like, oh shit, we love this movie so much we're starting to notice the absolutely infinitesimal problems with it. Mm-hmm.
There's, like, yeah, her vibes are so... Okay, the combination of her vibes of wanting to bang him so badly, especially when he gets worse and worse and worse in his little role he's playing, plus, like, how ace he is in this movie, just is thrilling. Is thrilling.
Yeah.
Here we are, putting on weird masculinity again that just feels strange on Ethan, so you know it's like a role that he's putting on.
Yeah, and I love that, like, she in some ways has the upper hand in this interaction, but she's also, like, getting off on the fact that he is this, like, scary dude. And it's just, like, it's really interesting, again, like, that gender dynamic that is, like, not straightforward like it sort of is in the earlier movies. It's like there's something very complicated happening here, and it's fascinating.
Yes. I mean, when I think about it, like, she would love to have him as a pet, basically.
Yes!
Which I don't think I've ever, like, realized until this moment. Like, she would love to get her claws in him and have him, because he's a wonderful showpiece who she also wants to bang.
And they also talked in the commentary about how everybody in this scene is thinking, oh, yeah, you know, the White Widow, like, she is, you know, she's just this girl, you know, she's out of her depth. And then she takes that knife, that butterfly knife, out of her thigh holster and stabs a dude. And you're like, oh, shit, this is a completely different scenario than I thought it was.
Every time I see that, I'm like, is this not going to end up in some kind of gossip rag? Like, also, this shot is staggeringly beautiful.
It's so good.
McHugh, you could have lingered on that one longer. Terrible,
which we
terrible
don't
director.
usually say. We usually say you're much better than about lingering, but there's also something in this upcoming scene. I'll point it out. So this is also about sort of Ethan getting further and further, deeper and deeper into the nightmare, right? He was planning on just doing it for that one meeting, but then it didn't end up being just that one meeting. And then they set up this whole shot when he comes into this room so that it's this scary shit all around them. Ethan walks deeper into the scary shit, and then it closes around behind him, and then he's got, like, deeper and deeper into this, like, the widow's nest, right? Like, that's what it is. And
I like it because, like, from that moment on, I feel like he's just trying to figure out his way out. And we know, like, how he eventually does. But you could see him thinking and thinking and thinking, basically just trying to get himself out of this from this moment onward. Especially once we know that he's picking up Solomon Lane. Then it's literally all about, okay, this is bad. How do I fix this?
Yeah.
I like that I could just see the wheel turning in his head. Man, TC, you are a fucking good actor. Goddamn.
Yeah, you can stand TC all you want.
Shut the fuck up.
That's you. It's you.
Yeah, because I'm McHugh, right?
Yeah.
I love that she goes and she changes into a very beautiful outfit. I see what you're doing. He literally banged your mom.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, again, thinking about the gender dynamics of MI1, right? He is in the position of the White Widow in MI1, and Max is in the position that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally in, like, the feminized position in MI1, like, appealing to the agent of power through sex.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I can't stop.
Yeah, I know.
MI1.
We might have wanted to pair MI1 and Fallout because it's both got a lot of stuff like that. Oh, I do love that. Like we get one of the plutonium back here, and it was just so McHugh could write himself out of having to deal with a third bomb. I'm like, you know what, my man. Yeah.
It wasn't. It was worse than that. It was because they'd already shot some of the scenes that had only 2 bombs, and they were like, fucking A, what do we do with a third bomb? What the fuck could we do? And so they
if you
put it
had
in
a
here.
fucking outline at any point, you would have known you only needed 2 plutoniums and not 3 plutoniums.
They put it in here so that they didn't have to deal with it later, what happens with the third plutonium.
McHugh, fucking outline anything.
I love it so much. He's so chaotic.
He's literally the exact opposite writing style as me.
And yet you respect him so fucking much.
I do, unfortunately. Oh my god. Do you know the story about why this looks
is the
like
quiet moment. A fucking course. This is the quiet moment.
Oh, yeah!
And they talk about this in the commentary, too. They say, every time when there's voiceover, you have the safety of knowing that it's not actually happening, that it's just them narrating what's going to happen. But they remove the narration so that you aren't sure whether this is actually happening or whether this is just being narrated, like this is just what's supposed to happen. And it makes this entire scene hit so much harder. It's
so haunting. And like the strange diffused light that came from they wanted to block out this scene so like bystanders couldn't see what the fuck they were filming, so they like hung sheets. And one of the strange side effects was that it just diffused the light in this beautiful way, and it just lines up perfectly with the recurring trauma dreams that this movie is like anchored around.
Yeah, because, like, this was one of the very first things that they shot in Paris, and there was obviously a whole bunch of paparazzi, and they were like, McHugh and TC were like, we do not want to come into Paris after they've been so kind as to, like, let us come in and shoot all of this stuff here, and, show us shooting a whole bunch of cops. That's not what we want to show. And so they hung up a whole bunch of sheets.
And it just had the perfect side effect.
Yeah. Also, I love that this parallels what actually happens with the police officer in that scene you love.
Yeah. Which might legitimately be my favorite scene of the entire series.
I think my favorite scene of the entire series is probably in MI1. I'll point it out to you when we get there, so I don't keep talking about MI1.
Fucking
I love that that's
skin
a little
crawling.
I love that that's a little bit sort of like Ethan trying to convince himself that this is in character almost. Like there's something almost off about that line because it doesn't really sound realistic, right? John Lark wouldn't say that, but you get it because it's like Ethan is saying like, I have to do this. This is why I cannot do anything else because I'm playing this role of John Lark who does these things. And so I'm backed into a corner.
Yeah, and the way that, like, the real Lark is in the room and just kind of stares at him with, like, interest. Like, it's a lot. This movie is so much.
It's so much.
I like how this scene, like, everything Walker says, Walker, same thing. Everything he says sounds very fucking reasonable until that very last reveal. That, like, he's setting up Ethan.
Yeah, and if you weren't paying attention to that phone...
Which, I've had to explain that to multiple people. Like,
yeah, the moment where Ethan pulls out the phone and it's broken, you do not realize that this is all him setting up Ethan.
Yeah. Because everything he says is actually correct, which makes sense because, like, this is a dude who works with Solomon Lane. They probably would love to get Ethan in on the syndicate, honest to God.
Yeah, and he's also literally just explaining what he's planning on doing. Like, he's explaining his own logic as Lark, and he's projecting it onto Ethan.
This is why I've always found Solomon Lane to be very interesting, because, like, his methods suck. He's right about his actual, like, motivation.
But Walker isn't. Walker's a piece of shit. No, I'm serious, right? Do you not agree? I think that Walker is fundamentally cut out of a different cloth than Solomon Lane in Rogue Nation.
I mean, their goals are essentially the same.
You don't ever hear Walker talk about those bigger goals. You don't ever hear Walker. In fact, he even says that thing that he wrote that Nils Dilbrook said. He says, I wasn't talking about this. He says, like, he was just basically, he says, like, oh, it was just sort of a ploy to say something funny sounding, basically. Like,
no, that's not how that scene goes. No.
What does he say?
He's mad at Lane because he's like, I was not talking about... Oh, what the fuck is the actual line? He's basically getting mad at Solomon for making it personal, because he's making it about Ethan suffering. Right. Peace and suffering. I wasn't talking...
Oh, right. Okay, he's like, I wasn't talking about Ethan Hunt. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'm mistaken.
Yeah, I think Walker has the potential to be read as, like, even more of an idealist than Lane, because Lane just gets to this point where he's petty underneath it all. He's really fucking petty. He could have killed Benji much faster and in a way that, like, got the fight over, but he wanted him to suffer.
Yeah.
He wanted Ilsa to be alive when the bomb went off.
In some ways, it's like Walker became what... No. Walker is what Lane started out as, and then Lane basically became... Corrupted isn't the right word, but basically, like, he became more human through the interactions with Ethan. He became, like, no longer about these, like, terrorist, basically, ideals. He becomes, like, a person who has petty disputes. And in the same way, by the end of this movie, Walker is like, fuck it, I just wanted you to fucking die. You know? It's really interesting how, like, even the villains get more humanized through interacting with Ethan.
Do you think it's like part of the foil between Lane and Ethan specifically is that like Lane is denying like the human parts of himself. He says that he's using human nature as his greatest weapon. He doesn't really ascribe to it as something that affects him, but Ethan kind of leans into it.
Mm-hmm. I think so for sure.
This is serious, but also, like, Walker, this is why nobody wants to hang out with you. You are so shit at conversation. Nobody wants to be your buddy. You're not a good conversationalist.
I love that. What is that called when you mash two?
A malaprop. A malapropism?
No, I think malapropism is when you do it by accident.
Oh, I don't know if there's. I didn't know there was a specific term for doing it on purpose.
I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe they're both called malapropisms. I'm not sure.
I'm so happy that they tricked Sean Harris into being in this movie too.
Poor Sean Harris.
Did you hear the thing about Alec Baldwin and Sean Harris getting really mad?
I didn't hear about Alec Baldwin.
No, so Alec Baldwin is like, hey, I want to be killed off saving Ethan, and McHugh like, yeah, sure. And Sean Harris finds this out, and he's goes to McHugh, he's like, you motherfucker! It's like fucking great.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. That's not suspicious at all.
Uh-huh.
I love spending this entire sequence just like, what the fuck has Ethan figured out? What is his fucking random gamble that's going to get him out of this bullshit?
Uh-huh.
You can't have trauma nightmares when you're not sleeping because you're trying to figure out how the fuck to get yourself out of this stupid mess.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this entire sequence brings me so much joy. At first I watched this, I'm like, okay, that's one way of doing it.
Uh-huh. It's such a just like, you see how desperate Ethan is because that's his winning plan, you know?
Yeah, I'm just gonna shove it into the river and then drive away because I gotta get the fuck out of here and just trust Benji to do his part.
Uh-huh.
I love that. What the hell is he doing? That's it. That's basically it. It's like, he doesn't know. He's got like half of a plan and he called his buddies and God fucking, this part's so funny. Just leave him.
Yeah.
Fucking
it is
leave
very
him.
Funny.
Oh, I love Ethan Hunt. But he's like, he has a plan, but he has a plan for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, you said he has a plan for the next hour. Sometimes that's way overestimating him. Sometimes he is lucky to have the next 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in GP, he's got the hour. In Rogue Nation, he's got the half hour. And here it's like, he's knows what he's doing next.
Yeah, pretty much. He's got, like, parts of a plan up until, like, when he knows he's going to get picked up by Benji. That's as far as he's got.
Yeah. Shout out to Simon Pegg, who's learning how to use a rebreather.
Yes, using how to use a rebreather. This is actually Simon Pegg, and it makes no sense and bothers the Light the Fuse guys so much because they're like, no, because it was Luther's thing. They asked they meant to ask McCoy in the 200 episode. They're like, why did Benji do the the scuba diving when it's Luther's thing to do scuba diving?
Well, Flight the Fuse guys, obviously Luther has seniority, so when he doesn't want to do it, he hands it off to Benji. That makes perfect sense to me. I don't know what their problem is. Like, literally, I'm not being facetious. That makes perfect sense to me. It's like, nah, I'm gonna make Benji do it.
Why do we assume that Luther doesn't want to do any scuba diving anymore?
Because he has a nice hat, his outfit is great, like, he doesn't wanna.
Yeah.
He's getting up in the years, he doesn't want to do it.
I think they said something about how they had to make fake fronts to these buildings because they didn't actually want to, obviously, damage real
Yeah, they didn't want to do what
buildings.
they did in Casablanca.
Did they actually damage old buildings in Casablanca?
They also had to put up facades because they were flinging motorcyclists into them.
Oh my god, of course they were.
Oh, fuck off. Like you don't know. He's in panic mode at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He had such a narrow timeline, and he's already blown it. Benji's outfit is amazing.
It is a very good outfit. I do love the suspenders.
I just love these two guys out on a date. Don't worry about the weird body laying in their boat. They're just out here hanging. Don't even worry about it.
I'm sorry to say this, but clearly that's their sex doll.
Shut the fuck up.
Right? That's the only logical explanation for why there's this masked body in the back of this boat.
I love these are all BMWs when they clearly should be Audis, but whatever. Oh, this is my favorite! This is my favorite stunt! Ah!
Okay, tell him.
Watching him do this is incredible. He's gotten so fucking good. The Arc de Triomphe bit just stresses me out. So, and like him putting his foot down, but he has to do it to like, everything about it is physicality porn. It's amazing. And you could see what the fuck is happening.
Mm-hmm.
He could have done this in MI3. We wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, pretty much. Plus, JJ would have made it happen at night for no reason.
Yeah. Oh. Jesus Christ. It's so good. Without a helmet. Without a helmet.
Okay, explain how the Arc de Triomphe bit
is terrifying.
Yeah, why is it terrifying?
The Arc de Triomphe, which is about to happen, is probably the most terrifying stunt that they've ever done, in my opinion, because they did not know that they were going to get the Arc. And then they were basically told day of, hey, you could have it for 90 minutes, but for like half that time, it's going to be too dark, so you have to wait for the sun to come up. So this is happening at dawn. Oh, Jesus Christ. So they only had time for one shot. They had like time for 45 minutes of setup and for filming. And because there's no time to like create a stunt plan for that, basically TC was like, listen, just drive and I will avoid you. And he did that. And it's all just him swerving, and they have to keep up to speed so that it looks real. So it's all just genuinely this guy on a motorcycle dodging a bunch of fucking cars, and it stresses me out so bad.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh. I love him.
Yeah.
Literally a cherry on top of the sundae of this sequence. This whole sequence is immaculate.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that coming off the motorcycle was also real. The only thing that wasn't 100% real was they had to use some sort of like decelerator cord because otherwise he would have just kept rolling for fucking
How many
ever.
times do you think that he's been just attached to decelerator cords? Like,
I know, right?
It's like half of his life is just like attached to one of those. Aw.
I love his wild hair. That's so cute.
I love Benji's little, yeah, I got you, man.
But he still doesn't look happy. He's still seeing his dreams when he looks at Lane.
Mm-hmm. And just, like, he knows, like, he just barely got out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is going, like, even more than usual, everything is on the verge of falling apart.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this team. Is it weird that I think, like, he looks the best in this movie?
No, I don't think that's weird.
Something about his physicality, like, I like it the most here.
I mean...
Also, this fucking moment! That little nod. It's like, yeah, it's okay. I got you.
I will say I am biased toward Twinkathan, but I totally understand thinking that this Ethan is the best.
Hello to my favorite scene in all of Mission Impossible.
Walker.
Has Walker ever made a friend in his life, do you think?
No.
I do. It's silly, but I do love that Benji immediately looks back like, okay, tell me what to do, man.
What do? Yeah.
They are already behind schedule. He almost got completely screwed because he was behind schedule. And all he does is stops and begs this person to leave.
Yeah, this is another moment where you have to remind yourself to fucking breathe.
I'm just obsessed with him stopping. And instead of anybody coming up with a plan, because God knows he could figure out a way to just disarm this person so they can get going, he stops and he's just like, please walk away. Please walk away. Please listen to me and walk away.
Also, I love this fucking quick draw, like, Wild West bullshit, and how good he is like, I will protect this, like, random bystander, even though it materially comes back and bites him in the ass later.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Because this is the movie about, this thing about him is just bad news for what his job is.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she'll never forget him, ever. Bless her.
No.
That was a soul gaze.
Yeah, for sure, as it was. I love that Benji is also really shook by this.
Yes.
I like that
mm-hmm.
point.
Hey, Elsa. The most tense fucking car ride ever.
Yeah. I love that this is so similar to the scene in some ways where where Brandt and Luther are arguing about the size of the car in Rogue Nation. And yet it's somehow completely different energy here, you know? Like, this is still so fucking tense.
But also, can we point out that, like, McQuarrie keeps putting Ethan in smaller and smaller cars? And next time we're getting the Fiat from hell?
That's true.
Ilsa, you only got his ear. Come on. We know out of universe why, like, Ilsa wears a helmet and Ethan does it, but I do love in universe that, like, just she's a safer driver than he is.
Yeah. I also love, that was something that I loved about your Syndicate AU that you might come back to at some point, who knows? Mm-hmm. I love that Ilsa is better on the motorcycle than Ethan is.
Mm-hmm. He's just a little bit reckless. I also, it's small, but I love the choice that, like, he has stubble going on. There's consciously a choice to make him look like he's, like, tired as he's going through all this. Yeah, look at the
fucking bags under his eyes in that shot just now. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Fucking Lane. Lane is delightful. He's horrible, and fuck him, but also hilarious.
Yeah, I
He's
do
just
feel sorry for the actor, though, having to basically probably has super duper motion sickness for like 3 days as they drive around this city.
still not as bad as what Peg had to deal with in Rogue Nation. What a trooper.
Plus, okay, we'll talk about it when we get to Rogue Nation. Okay.
Yeah. Last one we're gonna do. Well, maybe. We'll see. Oh, I love that shot! Good shots! Beautiful. She's gonna do the thing again where she stops in front of you and she's gonna do it. Because it worked on you last time, you dumb ass. Dumb of ass, big of heart. Oh no, she's catching the dumb of ass, big of heart disease. Just shoot him. Oh.
I love how fucking done Ethan is with Lane already.
Ethan, notably not someone who kills people for no reason, just wants to fucking kill that fucker.
Yeah.
And yet he survives again. Poor Ilsa. Hey, Zola. I love Zola's name. It's just a cool name.
Zola's the name of one of the evil Nazis in the first Avenger, I think.
The first Avenger? Oh, is that the...
Captain America.
Love you, Benji. Why are you handing Ethan a stopwatch when he has one on his wrist?
Maybe by Oldithan, maybe he no longer has a stopwatch on his wrist.
Very true. But also, you are a petty douchebag.
Was it you, or was it somewhere that I read somebody talking about what makes Lane call Benji a funny little man? When does Lane get to see Benji's sense of humor? Like, ever? Like, what on earth is he, like, why would he ever say that? It's just funny.
Do you think that he's just, like, through Rogue Nation, he's stalking Ethan so hard, he just, like, listens in on those conversations? And it's like, oh, he's really funny.
I feel like,
really
practically speaking, he couldn't, because otherwise I feel like the plot of Rogue Nation wouldn't work. But I do, in my soul, want that to be the answer.
Yeah, this is what it's like to have a friend, dipshit. Exactly.
I love that there's the heartbeat, which is in some ways very similar to... It's in some way reminiscent of both the dream, and it's reminiscent of the Taurus scene in...
Yeah.
In Rogue Nation.
I am nodding. I just, like, oh, suddenly he's moving much faster. How the fuck does that work? He's suddenly flying. I love that look out. He doesn't believe it. He still feels out of control.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing you know how to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. You know what just occurred to me?
What?
What if one of those kids is Twinkathons?
Well, yeah, that's occurred to me too. That's why
That never occurred to me. That literally never occurred to me. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's another level of the dynamic that's like, feel like it's built to make us uncomfortable, and I dig it.
Which one's older, do you think? The brother or the sister? Are they said to be twins?
I mean, if you were going for max, like, discomfort for the audience, it would be her.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Q's not going to say what the truth is under pain of death, let's be real.
For real, yeah. I just...
Because not everyone's, like, a weirdo like me who's like, hell yeah, make it as crunchy and terrible as possible.
Yeah, I feel like that might upset some people.
Mm-hmm. Better keep it as quiet implication and subtext. God, you're so fucking creepy. Can you just hear him screaming?
I love the absolute minimum expressions he's doing. Like that barely a smile that he does. It's not even like the polite grimace. It's just like,
It feels like if I put my ear against his head, I could hear him screaming inside.
Uh-huh.
He's just having the worst possible time.
And also, just shout out to how very Ace this moment is. She is being so into him, and he's just like, oh my god, I'm so fucking tired. Yes. I want to go to bed.
I feel it in my bones.
Also, I'm pretty sure they said in the commentary that this was actually
TC's.
Yeah. That TC was like, we have to have this scene between Ilsa and Ethan. And
McHugh was not sure if it would work.
Not sure. And then they happened to find this fantastic location just near where they were shooting for the day. And he was like, fuck it, you're right, TC. And they did it. And of course it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that, like, it's not like they're wearing green, but there's green tones to, like, both of their outfits, and everything just fits perfectly.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful rush of color in the midst of this movie.
Yeah.
Why is everybody who works on this movie so fucking good?
Mm-hmm.
I like that she moves towards him first, and then he hesitates and then moves. You did kind of run her over, though.
A little bit.
Super sorry.
She did get in front of you while you were chasing. You were being chased, though, to be fair.
Yep. She has such beautiful eyes.
I love this. I love that this is like a conversation between Ethan and Ilsa's eyebrows.
And he's good enough to read them.
Uh-huh.
I do love this point of the plot. Like, they need to take him out because, like, they're not getting him back and it's starting to freak them out. Mm-hmm. I really like that plot point.
Yeah. See, that's it. That's what I want. I want Ethan in MI2 to be Ilsa in this moment, except he's given up.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That he's been so used to nobody trusting him and nobody being on his side and nobody backing him up for so long, for like 6 years, that he's just like, fuck it, I'll do whatever. Like, I've turned off my higher brain power.
Mm-hmm. And he only gets out of it when he, like, builds his team of people. It's not about the IMF anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if the IMF isn't evil in the next one, it's so set up. Mm-hmm. And also, like, she says that we're never free, and the immediate thing that happens next is Julia. Like, hi, you tried to get out, and you couldn't. Mm-hmm. And now you're back. Like, are you gonna die doing this, man, or are you gonna fucking destroy the IMF? Which one? Also, you guys are fucking creepy. Why are you staring at him while he sleeps?
Technically, Luther was staring straight ahead.
I think that menu had tiramisu. I love a tiramisu. Benji's outfit! Benji's outfit! Let me see! This fucking... He looks incredible. Benji in layers. I'm obsessed. I know we have opposite takes on why he does it. My take is that, like, as he's gets more comfortable in himself and more confident in who he is, this is how he wants to dress.
Mm-hmm. Whereas my theory is that it's a cover for the fact that he's deeply fucking traumatized after Rogue Nation. And he's like, what is the person that I want to be so that I'll be safe? And it's like, well, I want to be Ethan, and Ethan always looks nice, and Ethan always dresses nice. So
but it's not the way that Ethan looks nice. Like, Ethan's
it's true.
Looks great, but he's like in black.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
projecting because I am a weirdo who, like, I feel most comfortable when I'm dressed up a little bit. Mm-hmm. It is a comfort to me.
Whereas I feel like men's dress clothes are so fucking uncomfortable that I can't imagine them as anything but, like, basically the version of, like, plate armor.
Audiences at home can decide which take they like.
Exactly.
Choose your own adventure. Oh, God. For once, Benji does not want the mask. Hilarious. Again. Benji's face.
Uncomfortable silence.
Oh,
yeah.
It's fantastic.
Okay, you know what's interesting? The White Widow is doing the same thing that Thandie Newton is doing in MI2. She's using the IMF. It is hard. The IMF to get her own freedom from her past.
But she's doing it with the CIA in this one, which makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Man, the contextualization of, like, this is just a furthering nightmare for Ethan. It's just like, oh my God, man.
I know. Once you see this movie as that, it's just like, holy shit.
Okay, every time he does this, it's just like Lane is the ultimate chess master, and every time Ethan tries to explain it, I'm just like, oh, I fucking hate Lane so much. He makes Ethan sound like a fucking idiot. It's not your fault that Lane sucks, man. Fuck the IMF.
I love how much Hunley is giving to this performance.
Ethan runs really fast, so, like, good luck. You see, if I wrote it, and Hunley would not be in on the whole situation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Note to self, we need to discuss later how, August Walker is an assassin. Okay, just remind me about that.
Okay.
And I love that he's using the fact that everybody knows he's on the rickety edge to his advantage. He knows that everybody thinks he's slightly insane, and that's why this works.
Yeah. No kidding. This is such a fucking good con, though.
It's a really
really
good
is.
con.
I wish Hunley wasn't in on it, because that part makes me roll my eyes, but that's just me
You
not
just
liking
hate
Alec Baldwin.
Baldwin.
I do hate Alec Baldwin, unfortunately. I also just think it'd be more interesting if he wasn't in on it and they were just, like, going rogue from the IMF again. You know, as you do.
Yeah, but they have to do it slightly differently. They can't just go rogue from the IMF exactly the same way every time.
I'm trusting you, McQuarrie. I'm trusting you. Fucking bring it home, man. I love that fucking thing. They always have those little vials.
Mm-hmm. What are they for again? What in this scene? What's the vial supposed to be for?
Well, in this situation, it's to wake him up.
Okay.
But, like, remember, it was a threat in Rogue Nation. It's like, ooh, we have a vial. And the camera's like, a vial.
Yeah.
That's what everybody wants to yell at Lane, honestly. See?
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong.
You just don't like him.
I don't like him. It's true. I don't find him nearly as entertaining as I find Lane.
I find them both very compelling in different ways. Out of the two, I would always use Lane in a story, but both of them are fun.
Yeah, like, I definitely appreciate... I won't say that Walker's doesn't have a certain, like, charm, and not in the charming way, but a certain charm. It's just he doesn't seem to be quite as smart as Lane, to me. And I love my villains to be really smart.
You're the best.
Also, I love how well Benji did at that.
Mm-hmm.
I love how well he knew what
buttons to push.
What buttons to push and what Lane would most likely have set up with Walker.
Mm-hmm. And, like, he completely bought the "I'm staying here, I have unfinished business with Hunt."
Yes,
so,
because
like,
it does so sound like something that Lane would say.
Because he's stupid and petty. That's my favorite thing about Lane is, like, he acts like a certain thing, but he's just a petty fuck. He doesn't like these people, so he's going to make them suffer. And fuck the morals and the idealism. You're the best, Benji. Aww. Shut up, Alec Baldwin. He's a natural at what? Getting drugged and dropping? The fucking CIA. I do love that they play this as, like, a victory moment, and then we're like, oh, right, the CIA sucks.
That is
They're not
so
your
fucking
friend.
good. I love that Sloane is such an interesting character in the sense that she's not quite an antagonist, but she's also definitely not on their side.
Mm-hmm. CIA always fucks everything up for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, why would you think there's only one mole in the CIA? Come on.
And the thing that occurred to me when I was watching this with Al is literally he just said that he had an extraction team ready and waiting. And it's
it
like
all lines up.
It all lines up.
Oh no, not Alec Baldwin. We cared about him so much.
Why do you hate Alec Baldwin so much?
I just don't like him as a character. He feels very tagged on. He feels like... Well, like, the whole thing was, like, he wanted to have a scene where he dies saving Ethan, but they play it up so much. It's like, I don't care about this guy enough to have earned this.
I feel like you hate Alec Baldwin more than you hate Hunley.
Yes, I don't like him as a character actor.
Okay,
I don't think he does anything interesting. Yeah. There's nothing that he brings to this role besides being Alec Baldwin. Oh, whoopty shit.
This is the thing that you don't like about Fallout.
This is my
Alec
complete
Baldwin.
no-sell moment, where they try to make me really care, and I'm like, no, the moment I liked him the most was when he got completely played like a fucking patsy by Brant and Ethan in the last one. That was my favorite moment. the fact that he's treated as a figure of authority after they completely fucking owned him, like, is just a no-sell.
Wait. Don't miss this very good moment where they microchip their dog before letting him on the loose.
It's the fucking greatest. Oh, fuck. Okay. Now that's over, so we can move on and never speak of him again. Come on. We got shit to actually do. This... it's so fucking funny, right? It's like, oh god, so Ethan's about to go running. We better figure out a way to fucking follow him. Shit, let's chip him.
I love that that is actually the funniest moment, not the actual overt comedy of Benji not reading the map properly. It's actually the fridge comedy almost of like, no, they had to fucking microchip Ethan so that they could follow him because he's just too fucking fast otherwise.
Yep. Also, this is my favorite Ethan outfit in the entire series.
Okay. I'll pay attention.
Yeah, it just, the way that it creates a silhouette around him when he runs is just very beautiful. Because the jacket's just a little short.
Also, I have to point out this moment, because again, if you're thinking about this as Ethan's nightmare, this moment makes so much more sense, because it's that part of the nightmare where suddenly you're in front of the class naked, except it's you're suddenly interrupting a funeral. Like, it makes perfect sense on a psychological level.
Mm-hmm. And like everywhere you turn, there's people trying to kill you while you're trying to just quietly get out of here and stop being a douchebag.
Yeah.
Oh.
God, it's so fucking good. I love McHugh.
I'm so excited for Dead Reckoning. It's gonna destroy us. This entire sequence is like another just... Everything is gorgeous.
Also, is this still in Paris or is this in London now?
This is London.
Oh, wait, is this St. Paul's Cathedral? I've been there. Literally, I walked up like the 300-something steps.
Yeah, because they're going to be going to the Tate Modern.
Oh, right, okay.
I love the physicality of this. He bounces off one end and then slides down the other. Fucking... Everything about how he moves in this sequence is incredible. The fucking composer on this did a fucking great job.
Yeah.
And then he just does. OTC. OTC. And break.
Breaks an ankle right there in that shot. Then he keeps going. And this shot, he's walking on a broken ankle.
I like because he went directly to McHugh, looked at the monitors, like, did you get the shot? And McHugh's like, yeah. He's like, okay, pack it up. I just broke my ankle. That's literally what happened.
What a fucking insane man.
Literally the best scene. His face this entire little bit is so good as he's figuring out what to do.
Wait, I also... Mm-hmm. There was something I was going to say related to...
Ankle?
It was that running shot before TC broke his leg.
It's so hard, I know.
It's so good. It's so good. You said that there was at least one shot in this series where TC actually outran the camera because the camera was on a moped and TC ran faster than the camera. Remember which movie that was in?
I'm pretty sure it's this one. I think it's one of the running shots after he gets off this roof.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Because I know they had to reset and do it again. Also, like, I have a lot of admiration for TC and all his work, but the fact that he forced his leg to heal as quickly as it did so he can continue filming scares the shit out of me. It's like, my guy, no.
Mm-hmm.
That was genuine, because he basically did the rest of the movie on a broken ankle. Oh, this shot!
Oh, this is where it's on the moped?
No, I have no idea, but this is, look at, just...
It's fucking fast.
Who fucking needs the MCU? Who needs CGI when you have that shot? Something about it just always takes my breath away. That one shot. But yeah, after he broke his ankle, he was told, like, you have to be off it for like 4 months, and he's like, that's not acceptable, and basically just worked and worked and worked and worked with every physical therapist he could get his hands on until he was ready to get back in like 6 weeks. Was it something insane? Like,
but that sounds so much like Ethan Hunt.
I know, but man, that's when it veers into, like, my guy, you've got to rest.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like his ankle was still broken, but he strengthened the muscles around it so much that he could still, like, continue.
That's fucking insane.
Yes. Also, another fucking take a shot for Ethan and his weird grip strength.
I know, right? It's in every single movie. Maybe it's, like, written in TC's writer. Like, he has to be able to show off his insane grip strength in every single movie he's in.
Dude. The fuck? I love Walker casually leaving. As Ethan's just trying to catch up. Okay. And every time I show people this movie, I say, this is the intermission point. Like, everybody get up, stretch your legs, breathe. Because from here to the ending, it's just like, it's like being in a car with the gas being put down further and further and further and further.
Yes, thank you. You got me to just sit up properly because I was just like scrunched down in my chair, just like goblin energy. I have to breathe.
This entire ending is horrendous. Mm-hmm. Just the entire sequence. At some point, it's just like they're saying words, and you have to buy into it.
Yeah. I love that he echoes Ethan there.
Uh-huh. Listen, that's the, like, that's the motto of the team.
I love how sad he looks. He looks so sad.
That's just it. That's Simon Pegg's face is just really good.
It's a very good face that he's got.
Sorry, Naya.
Yeah, seriously.
He died in the process, though.
Yeah.
He did die. That happened.
I do still stand by my theory because I find this monologue so different from how Luther interacts in MI3, which obviously you can chalk that up to MI3 being bad and, like, not good with Luther characterization, which is totally fair. That's the, like, Doyleist explanation. But I like the Watsonian explanation that part of the reason why Luther is so opposed to Ethan getting out of the game and being with Julia in MI3 is because he knows this is going to happen. He knows that Ethan could not live with himself if he wasn't constantly saving the world. And so he's basically being a jerk in trying to get Ethan to, like, give up on this thing that's going to end up really hurting him, is, like, trying to get out and failing.
Yeah. I can see that. I also, like, it's one of those things, like, if we go with that, and that's the Watsonian answer, it's like, it's clearly not the right choice of what he should do, but the reasoning makes sense of why he does it.
It's still a mistake on his part. Yeah, it's still a mistake on his part, but it's like, it's a mistake that you're like, oh, fuck, Luther, I totally get it. Mm-hmm.
Aww. It is wild that they look like the ones in MI2. I can't believe it. Okay, is it that he planned to let him go, or he's like, some part of my plan is going to fuck up. I need to have this as a failsafe.
So this is the thing. I think it's exactly like McHugh described with the sticky notes. I think Ethan has all these sticky notes, all these sort of elements of a backup plan going all at once. So he has to have those elements.
In the same way, we know that he has the scan of Walker's face, and that could have come up, but it doesn't.
Exactly. He has to have all of those sort of trails. Like, Ethan as a character has to have all of those little spots where he knows that if the worst happens, he could get a backup plan in from this piece of information. He could get a backup plan from this. He could get a backup plan from this. He knows at a certain level that his original plan is going to fail. So he knows that he has to plan around that.
It is a running joke that, like, they're on plan C or they're on plan whatever. So. I don't know why, but I love when Ethan drives the team.
Yeah.
I just think he feels safer when he's driving, which is, again, me projecting.
No, I think that there was some meme at some point that I think I did when I was in Homestuck about, like, what the different characters are when they're on a road trip, like what their roles are in the road trip, and Ethan is definitely always the driver.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The question is, if it's a really long road trip, does he trade off with somebody, or do they stop for the night? Because he has to be the driver.
I feel like they would stop for the night. Okay, is this in fanfic, or is this in canon?
In canon. Like, if these guys, if it's not
then
that
he
they
trades
need
off.
to... Okay, but what if there's not a time scale?
If there's not a time, if there's not a time limit, then yeah, they stop for the night. Because it doesn't actually make sense for them to, like, show up basically exhausted to whatever is going to be this huge showdown. So it makes sense for them to stop and sleep, unless there's a huge time crunch.
And also it lets him continue driving.
Yes, that too. But he doesn't say that bit out loud.
But everybody knows it.
Benji definitely knows it. Luther definitely knows it. Ilsa might be sort of giving him the benefit of the doubt.
I think every once in a while Benji picks up the keys first just to make Ethan take them away. And it's like a fucking, like, acknowledgement that it's like, I get you. Mm-hmm. You fucking control freak. say control freak, but only specifically about driving.
I think he's a control freak about some other stuff too, just not everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a control freak, though.
Mm-hmm.
Said Sean Harris, looking directly at McHugh.
Threateningly.
It's like, this is where I'm gonna stand next to a fucking nuclear bomb.
And yet it doesn't work.
I know, it's so funny. Because I like it because it's a good character moment that they don't kill Wayne, but also it's very funny that he cannot fucking die.
It's very good. Although I assume Sean Harris is not going to be coming back. I assume he got the fuck out of Dodge.
I'm just braced.
Mm-hmm. Remember to breathe. God, the lighting is so fucking good. And the mist and shit.
Everybody's got a good face, but Benji's is almost as good as Ethan's. It's like, oh, shit. Anyone who's watching this needs to watch Julia's face through this entire sequence.
I love how smart Julia is. Like, Julia is fairly smart in MI3, and I love that. But Julia in this movie is so fucking smart, and she's in the know, and she's paying attention, and I love her so much.
Yeah. You can watch that entire sequence and just watch her face and realize the degree to which she's understanding what the fuck is happening, and it gets worse and worse. It's so fucking good.
Yeah. God, it's so good. I really want to be able to like this guy because I want Julia to have had good taste twice in a row. But I have to say it. I say it every time. He is not nearly autistic enough for Julia.
He's so milquetoast.
He is very milquetoast.
She's going through every stage of mourning right now. And there he goes. It's so fucking good. Michelle Monaghan's amazing.
She's so good. If you wanted to stay up until 3 a.m, we could watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang after this.
No. I will be falling asleep. What the little fucking thing? Whatever. We had to create a whole thing to make this ending work, and I get it. I do love the team just working together, even in little ways like that. Mm-hmm. Ethan's hair looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
You hacked Langley. It'll be fine. I feel like that should be a running joke. Anytime Luther complains, Ethan should just go, "You hacked Langley. Like, come on. You got this."
Actually, wait. Did I just write that in a fic, or did Ethan actually compare something to Langley at one point?
No, remember they compared the getting the rabbit's foot to Langley, and we both shouted at them, "Shut the fuck up! How dare you!"
Okay, thank you. I can't fucking remember shit anymore.
See, if you just ejected MI2 from your brain like I did,
No,
it'd be easier to remember everything else.
I wish I could.
Lane, you're such a fucking creepy bastard. I love that he just stands there and watches. It's so fucked up.
So good. I love that as a meta commentary, right? That, like, we are so enthralled in watching TC / Ethan Hunt. Like, that is the whole point of these movies. But Benji cares about him so much, and it bothers him so much that he keeps putting himself in danger, that Benji's literally like, I can't fucking look and see what he's doing next.
Because, like, he has other shit, like, yes, but also, like, he has shit to do right now. He needs to focus. He can't look at whatever the fuck Ethan's doing.
Yeah, it's not a spectacle to him. It's, like, part of his job that Ethan has to be working and he has to be working.
Mm-hmm. Right next to his cock. Just... Sorry. What else am I supposed to think?
No, that's totally valid. Oh, we have to tell him about this moment.
Oh, God, it's practical, and it looks so real that it fucking freaked out the crew. And they're like, oh, fuck, we lost Tom. Jesus! It's so stressful. It's so stressful.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Rebecca Ferguson, like, fucking screamed when this happened, yeah.
And Peg said something like, I guess we're going home early today.
Yeah. God, I love that. Peg is just absolute dark humor until the end.
I love Luther so much.
Luther's so fucking good.
I love the two of them so much.
I know.
I love, like, Luther's right. There's no reason to get her out of there. There's nowhere she can go. But Benji's like, she's a civilian. Get the fuck... No, that's Ethan's wife. We can't let anything happen to her.
I also like the implication, like, that is my business is very cool to me, given some things that we've talked about. I think it would be cool if Benji and Julia had been, like, friends, right? Because they didn't meet at the end of MI3. I think it would have been cool if, like...
And he literally mentions in, at the worst possible time in Ghost Protocol that, you know, he really liked her.
Yeah, he really liked her.
Yeah.
I think
which
they
feels
should have,
like more than just, like,
recipes.
one meeting.
Yeah.
TC, what the fuck? My guy. Just...
Yeah, you have to start telling the story about the helicopters now.
Oh, fucking God, Jesus. This guy, I feel for so much. Because, like, what the fuck? You've been in the air.
Get there, yeah.
Yeah, you've been in the air for a while. How the fuck is this? Where did he come from? Yeah, so the greatest bit of acting in this sequence is TC pretending like he doesn't know how to fly a helicopter.
Because TC already knew how to fly. Like, he was a pilot. But...
He's been a pilot for years.
Yeah, for a long time. But specifically, when they were going to talk about doing the sequence, he was like, oh, well, obviously I'll fly the helicopter for real. And they were like, oh, well, it takes a while to get your helicopter license. Do you remember how long it was?
6 months.
6 months. And he's like, how do you get that number? And they're like, well, that's based on assuming that you have to train.
You have training every day, 5 days a week.
For like 8 hours.
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, just like this as a character moment. Like, hold on. Like,
I won't let you down.
Like
it's very interesting.
There's just we're getting to a point of fucking desperation that just is so crunchy.
I also think that it's interesting because it's no longer about, for Ethan, even this moment, which is obviously about saving the world, is not really about saving the world. It's about not letting down his team.
Yes. It's another example of like his ethics and morality is like narrowing in on three specific people.
Yeah.
Which, God, McHugh, please, McHugh, please. You keep hinting at it with the trailers. Please. Okay, so, all right, the actual story. So this is a specific model of helicopter that they wanted to use for the sequence because it's really big and open, so it's great for filming. So TC wanted to get certified to do it himself, obviously. And he was told that it would take about 6 months. And he's like, what the fuck? Why would it take me that long to fly a helicopter? And they're like, well, we're assuming that you train every single day, doing like a 6-hour shift, and you do it 5 days a week. And he's like, okay, what am I doing the other hours of the day? And they're like, So instead of doing a shift every day for every weekday, he did a shift, he would take a break, and then do another 6-hour shift in the same day. And he did that 7 days a week and just basically cut it all the way down.
Didn't he end up finishing it in basically like 6 weeks?
Yeah, something ridiculous like that. Like, absolutely batshit. So, and he's going to do something called a death spiral, where everything starts going to shit and it looks like he's going to crash, because you're not supposed to do that with these planes. So he asks Airbus for permission. I love you. I love you so much.
Also, we missed it, but I did want to point out that wonderful moment where Ilsa's like, oh my god, I like her. I also feel like that about Julia. Julia is so perfect.
Mm-hmm. They do so much. She was already, like, carrying MI3 when she had a shitty script, but now that she's actually written by a good writer, she's incredible. This is a death spiral. So, you shouldn't do this. And when he asked if he could do it with the Airbus, they told him no, because it's really too dangerous and you need to be a much more experienced pilot, and they didn't know if he could do it. So he took their liaison with Airbus, who was visiting, up in the helicopter with him, and just did the maneuver. He did a death spiral. And he's like, okay, so can I do it now? And they were like, yeah, sure.
I love to imagine that moment as slightly threatening. Like, do you want me to show you another death spiral, or are you going to let me do it?
Yep. This is the guy who, the only incident that I know of, and I've Googled a bit, of, like, an insurance company being fired from a movie was TC doing it. Like, just and that was just let him make his fucking movie.
That was for Ghost Protocol, right?
Yes. Because they would not insure the movie with the Burj Khalifa. And he's like, fuck you, then we'll get somebody else. So he fired him.
Yeah. Do we know how much TC is insured for? Like, his
we will
body
never
or
know.
Whatever? Oh, I wish we could know.
Oh, I love it.
I love Luther.
Great smash cut. Amazing smash cut.
Yeah.
This is also horrendously dangerous. He was flying very, 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 very close to the walls of this canyon. Like, within inches. Dude's a fucking good pilot. You remember watching the Dead Reckoning, like, featurettes about, like, about doing the motorcycle jump and stuff? Uh-huh. And, like, they had people there, it's like, it's amazing. He learns how to do this so quickly. And I'm like, that's very cute of you to say. He's been doing shit like this for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he has incredible preternatural tracking. He's been doing this shit for 20 years.
I love Benji.
Benji's so great.
Also, I completely missed the first time that he actually does open every single one of these cases.
He's just trying to work as fast as possible because he does not like Ilsa is out of his sight.
Uh-huh.
It's always a question for me, is Benji inheriting Ethan's, like, caring too much sickness? Or is he going to go the opposite direction and be a little devil-may-care? Because I'm wondering if it's the latter.
So I think Benji is inherently very caring. I think that's almost been, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's even Benji or just Simon Pegg. I find something about it just very...
Oh, like, by the hair.
Yeah. Very caring. But I think that what Benji has that I don't think Ethan has is Benji has a mean streak. Benji will absolutely hold a grudge. In fact, I think Benji is... I have someone like this in my life. I think Benji is someone who will hold a grudge on Ethan's behalf.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody is shitty to Ethan, Ethan's like, whatever, I don't care. Benji's like, I fucking hate them forever. And will, like, badmouth them and, like, fucking ruin their credit. I don't know. Like, he will, like, do whatever because he hates people who are mean to Ethan.
I'm loving both of what you're saying and at this sequence because it's great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Ethan, frankly, needs that. He needs...
Yes!
Like, isn't this, like, what... This is what the entire movie is about, is that he needs that ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, your big gun is out of bullets. You're shooting blanks.
Because I think, in some senses, Ethan is also, like, another person in my life, in the sense that he will give... If he's not 100% sure that someone's a bad guy, he will give them so many chances, and he will go out of his way to give them the benefit of the doubt, even when it's not really that logical. Like, I think he sort of does that with Walker, right? Like, he sort of...
Yeah.
He really should know from the very beginning, pretty much, that he's a bad guy. But he's like, I don't know how bad of a guy he is. Maybe he's just, like, sort of a bad guy. And it's not until he absolutely admits that he's working with Lane that he's like, oh, okay, this is a fucking bad guy. I think that's interesting.
Yeah. And, like, he is the guy who decided to leave Lane alive.
And he's also the guy who, in MI1, was like, well, maybe Claire didn't do it. Maybe Jim just did it all by himself. It's his thing where he will, like, give people... He knows
the truth, and he literally rewrites it because he doesn't want it to be true.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God, this is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot tell me that, like, he chooses to do it with the rope because he wants revenge on Benji and Ethan.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. It's not like it's not a choice made in a vacuum. Because Solomon Lane is a fucking petty bitch.
Yeah.
He wants them to suffer. He could just snap Benji's neck and have it be over with and win. And instead he wants everyone to suffer. He's so fucking petty.
Yeah. And specifically, he's petty and slightly, do I want to say psychosexually obsessed? Definitely obsessed with Ethan. In the sense that, like, he cannot let go of the fact that Ethan beat him. And so, I think he spent, like, literally however long there is between Rogue Nation and this movie, he spends it all basically thinking about how he's gonna get Ethan back. He's gonna make him see that he's the better, like, whatever agent, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's devising this plot basically the whole time. Like, he, or at least he's devising a plot that will go basically like this. Yeah,
he probably, like, he spends so much time thinking about it. Like, you give him any set of items and put him in a room with these people, and he would figure out a way to hurt them, but mostly Ethan.
Yeah. And, like, if you gave him... Right, there was a 36-hour delay before the chip came in. If you gave him 36 hours in the world anywhere, he would have managed to get the important people in Ethan's life into the same place and into some sort of danger.
Yes. Yeah, because it's personal.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, of the 4, 3 of them have personally wronged him in his eyes. Like, Benji got away. And, you know, fucked him over that way. Ethan is Ethan. And Ilsa also, like, arguably is as bad as Ethan in Lane's eyes. It's like, these are the people who...
It's interesting.
He has to get revenge on.
He doesn't seem to have quite as much of a... Like, except for that fight, which is obviously vicious... And, like, when he pulls her hair, like, I don't think of him as having as big of a personal vendetta against Ilsa, which is sort of strange, because in some ways he knew her way longer, and in some ways she was the biggest, like, betrayal. But I think it's because he sort of expected it, right? Like, he had known from the beginning that he didn't trust her, or that and he'd sort of been in a position of power over her, and so it didn't feel as much like... It didn't feel as personal. Yeah.
Like, in this situation, like, he pretty much explicitly says he's, like, setting up Ilsa to die this way to hurt Ethan, but with Benji, it feels, like, more personal. Not as personal as it would be with Ethan. It's like, if you had tiers, like, it's the most personal with Ethan, and then Benji, and then Ilsa.
Yeah.
I say kill him, but
I love that she's just like, I'm fucking done. I need a break. You tie him up.
I care about Benji and Elsa so much.
I know.
Oh god, that guy's just... I love... Ethan always is wearing his seatbelt like a good boy, and this time maybe you could have gotten out if you weren't. But it does also save his life here.
Yeah.
Yeah, McHugh, I get it. Every time I see this, I just think the whole sequence from Jurassic Park 2 with the giant van going over the cliff. We're doing that, but
Jurassic
better.
Park 2.
You don't need to. It's thoroughly fine.
See, I think about it as sort of on a meta level. Why is it that Walker, this sort of Clark Gable, needs to be disfigured at the moment when he's most monstrous?
Oh, do you want to know the actual answer? It'll make you mad.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, so the studio wanted them to have a disfigured villain because it tested really well, but they didn't really want to do it. But they threw him a bone at the end by having Walker get his face burned.
Oh my god, that's so awful! Wow! Thank you for telling me about that.
Mm-hmm. It sucks.
Where did you find that out?
That was in Eye of the Duck.
Wow.
Yeah, so you would have to ask their head researcher, Parth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's such a...
But I do appreciate that the people that we actually like were like, I really don't want to do this. So I'll do it like the bare minimum. They hold it
all the way till the end.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. So
I never paid attention to what that number was. So this entire last sequence is 4 minutes long.
God, is it really?
Yeah, because that's what the timer was at. The timer was at 4 minutes.
Does it match each time we cut between?
I don't know.
Or are we getting like... Yeah.
At
some point we should figure it out. Because it feels twice as long.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, Walker. That looks very painful. But man, Ethan's face here. Also, how deaf is Ethan in that ear?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Ethan is 100% deaf. Like, it's established that he can read lips, and there are also a couple of times where he would need to hear things, but honestly, I think that most of the time, it works perfectly well to assume that Ethan is deaf.
Yeah, he is at least deaf in one ear.
Yeah.
Has to be. And the other one's not great.
Yeah. And single-sided deafness by itself can really make it difficult to understand what people are saying. But what was I going to say? It was something... Oh, also, Ethan always gets hit in the fucking knee. His poor knee. Yep. I want him to take care of himself and not get hurt ever again because he's a good boy and he doesn't deserve that.
Yeah. Like, oh, I love that he does this. That move is so good. Fucking short king. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, this is just so tense.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I can barely focus on breathing. I can't even focus on talking. Also, I do want to point out, though, that we started this double feature with a good rock climbing scene, and now we are ending this double feature with a good rock climbing scene.
Yeah, deep down, that was always the actual comparison we were making. When does he do a free solo?
I love how smart that is. That's the opposite, right? That's the opposite of how fucking dumb he is all through MI2. In this movie, he gets to be as smart as he actually is. Mm-hmm. Because he's written by a competent writer.
How the fuck how do you do that? How do you do that? TC, explain.
Oh, tell them the bit about this shot. The shot that's coming up.
Which one? Oh, the beautiful shot?
The beautiful shot, yeah.
Oh, yeah. When there's a jaw-droppingly beautiful shot, was not planned, is not CGI, it just turned out that the sun came out at the right moment. Oh, God. I just want him to be okay.
Yeah.
It is actually very sad that he can't hear them. Uh-huh. He's alone. I love you, Luther. I love everybody on this team. I'm so glad that we have the team at this point. Wait, was Benji right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
such a fucking mean cut.
It is the flash cut to but my God,
this is the shot that they just happen to get.
Yes, because the sun just came out at the right time.
Fucking movie magic.
That's why they do what they do.
Yep.
Oh, man. I never realized that Benji was right. They had to wait one more second.
Uh-huh.
Same, Ilsa. Fucking same. Ilsa is all of us.
And that is the actor right there. Going like, fuck, I'm not dead.
I love you guys. I don't think you should be holding those things.
Well, to be fair, it only started reacting when Benji put the special thing on the
beryllium rod.
The beryllium rod. That implies that it's not just radiating like radiation all the time.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe how much I love this character.
Mm-hmm. So much.
We started with just like the sharpest boy ever who's just rocketing through like the worst trauma you could imagine, and he's just tired and soft and needs rest.
Yeah. And also in terms of the movie, we started with that dream of Ethan seeing Julia.
His eyes. Yeah, no shit. Oh, those things fucking hurt so much. I hate them. I don't know what happened, like why they always put it in your fucking hand now, but it sucks.
I think I got one of those when I had top surgery. I don't remember it being particularly painful, though.
Really? Do you remember, like years ago when you used to get it, like, in your arm instead? And now they just always put it through your fucking hand.
No, I didn't. I don't think I had any surgeries that long ago.
Okay. I ended up getting a lot of IVs as a kid because I would not hydrate.
Ah.
Yeah, and I lived in Florida, so not good.
Mm-hmm. He's so sad.
Yeah, and the context of, like, this is his nightmare scenario makes this scene, like, kind of click more for me.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, Julia, but don't say it like that, because we really want him to stop.
I know. This line is such a double-edged sword, and you can see it working on him. You can see him going, oh my god, I just want to stop, but I can't, because everybody relies on me. Yeah,
and, like,
it's heart-wrenching.
In some way, like, it's like, oh yeah, I saved everyone, I did it. But, like, you just want to take the sword out of his chest.
Mm-hmm. It's like, do you remember that comic that went around every New Year on Tumblr for a really long time, where it was about the person killing the dragon at the end of the year and then the dragon being reborn? I feel like that is Ethan in this movie specifically, but to a lesser extent in every movie. Like, that is the story of Ethan. Is he kills the bad guy or just hurts the bad guy, stops the bad thing, and then he gets a moment of peace, and then he has to start all over again.
I'm so fucking scared of Macquarie now. Mm-hmm. The next movie's gonna be so fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Like, what else can you do to my boy, McHugh?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the White Widow is like in the next movie. I wonder if they're going to keep the, like...
weird, one-sided sexual tension.
Yeah.
Does it? That's true, but do we need the IMF? Hey, remember that one time that they wanted a fucking, like, super virus and were mad when he didn't bring it back to them? That was weird.
That was weird. That I do like that line, though. Who care about the one life so I don't have to? That's very in character for her. I just love that.
Mm-hmm. And also, fuck the CIA.
Yeah.
I know that... Oh, hold on. I love it. I love it. I love it. He's great. He's the best.
So good.
Okay, if there is a serious flaw in the movie, it is the fact that, like, he notices Ilsa's bruise but does not notice Benji's, because Benji's is worse.
Mm-hmm.
But thank God we have 700 fix to remedy that.
Yeah.
People out here doing the fucking work.
Mm-hmm.
When Macquarie didn't. Hate him. Can't believe he fucked up that bad.
Mm-hmm. He did everything else perfectly, but that one thing.
Yeah. So it's almost a perfect movie.
Mm-hmm. Except for Hunley and that one moment.
Yes. It is so weird that the Halo drop is not the most tense moment of this movie.
I know, right?
It's impressive.
It's actually wild that they put the halo drop so early in the movie. Because it feels like something that should be like a crescendo, but it's actually just like they're getting to the location that way.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, don't worry, it gets worse.
Uh-huh.
That's what the halo jump is about. It's like, it's gonna get worse from here, actually.
Yeah.
Yep. It's now 1:30. I fucking love this movie.
It's so, so, so good.
Yeah. It is just tremendous.
Rowdy Frenchmen.
I love them.
Incredible.
I just love that, like, yep, if you're doing that stuff in a men's bathroom in Paris, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
This is the difference between France and America.
Uh-huh. Alright. You should go to sleep.
Yeah. Next we do the final two, our favorites.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very
perfect
much looking
movies.
forward to it.
Yeah. I cannot wait.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing Rogue Nation first or MI first?
I think ending with MI1 is cool, but I also feel like ending with our favorite is also valid. So I'm up for either.
Okay. We'll see how we feel. I think we'll have a lot more to say about MI1 because we need to just do like the queer analysis of how fucked up that movie is because Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But Rogue Nation is mostly just us also doing the queer analysis and just going, oh, okay, this is about Ethan and his, his boyfriend and his new girlfriend.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
God, I love the end of Rogue Nation. Thank you, Macquarie.
Yeah, Macquarie, thank you. Bless you.
Yeah. You're
Fair
the best.
hands.
Can't wait for him to fucking kill us next week.
Uh-huh.
Just a couple days away. I'm going to bed.
Okay.
Good
night,
night.
Ark.